After being mocked in Taylor Swift's new song, Kayla Nicole shut her down with just 3 moves, turning Taylor into a joke. Recently, Taylor's new song Opalite caused a stir. Fans quickly guessed that the line, "You don't get why you're lonely," was aimed at Travis Kelce's ex, Kayla Nicole, especially since Kelce had publicly criticized Nicole for always being on her phone. But Kayla didn't stay silent. She fought back with 3 moves, calling out Taylor for being hypocritical and petty.
That level of hate and just like online chaos, does it impact me? It does.
Yeah.
Even to this day.
Yeah.
First, Kayla shared a classic clip from America's Next Top Model, making it clear she doesn't compare herself to others. This not only responded to Taylor's lyrics, but also showed off Kayla's confidence and composure, making Taylor's mockery look weak. Second, she posted a meme on her Instagram story that said, "When God gives you balls, you give him balls." This cheeky message not only hinted at how she handles challenges, but also showed Taylor her humor and boldness. Third, Kayla has made it clear more than once that she's totally moved on from her breakup with Kelce. Instead of letting Taylor use her as gossip, Kayla took the high road, handling it in a more mature and confident way. This made Taylor's attack look petty and forced.
I truly enjoyed it. Every time I think about that moment, I feel completely fulfilled. On stage, I delivered a flawless performance, but you didn't see the dance. You saw a new crime, written in the comments like a verdict. You said I was chasing clout. You said I needed Chris Brown to save me. You said I was nothing more than Travis Kelce's ex, doomed to live in Taylor Swift's shadow. One spotlight turned into a courtroom, and my life reduced to a headline. So let me ask you, when a man changes rings, why must a woman be declared expired? When he got engaged to Taylor, was I supposed to bow my head and disappear? Since when is a woman's worth stamped by a man's choices? Last night, I did not bow. I danced louder, bolder, freer. Every move a refusal, every step a statement, because I wanted you to see the truth. I don't live off anyone's name. I am Kayla Nicole. If you think that moment was me stealing the spotlight, then you're right. I stole it back. My spotlight, my respect, my dignity. Not an accessory, not an ex, not a background prop. Stop comparing me to Taylor. I am not her shadow, and I am not his history. I am Kayla Nicole, and last night proved it.
Somebody get this message to Taylor Swift. Yes, honey, you got the ring. Definitely got the ring. But did you see Miss Kayla Nicole with Chris Brown? So what I'm saying is you might have the ring, sweetheart, but Kayla got the memories. And you know, memories can make you spin that block. But good luck, Taylor.
Travis Kelce has downgraded big time from this beautiful black woman to this skinny, frail, tall, billionaire, geeky, screech, Saved by the Bell face looking Taylor Swift.
This shit just pissed me off. Taylor Swift, once again, is trying to be the center of attention. She's the only one standing up and dancing during most of the Grammy performers' performances. And you might say that she's so much fun and she's just trying to be nice and she's just trying to be supportive. But the only coverage that I'm seeing of these Grammy performers is the fact that she was standing up and dancing during the sets. She is getting more coverage for dancing at the performances than the actual performers are. And I think she knew that.
All my exes girls are black. I can't handle that, so I'ma write these lyrics with a subtle attack. Black, I can't handle that.
Taylor just dissed Travis Kelce's ex, Kayla Nicole, on her new album. Kayla Nicole has responded to the diss track by posting this on her Instagram story, her response being, "Okay, but I have a fat wagon, so what are you gonna do about that?" Now let's take a look at the lyrics. The song Opalite opens with the line, "I had a bad habit of missing lovers past." Basically sets the scene to talk about exes. And in verse 2, we hear about Travis's ex. She says, "You couldn't understand it, why you felt alone. You were in it for real, she was in her phone, and you were just a pose." For anyone that doesn't know, Kayla Nicole is an Instagram influencer. She finishes the verse saying, "And don't we try to love love, we give it all we got. You finally left the table, and what a simple thought, you're starving till you're not." Some people are saying you finally left the table as kind of a reference to Evermore, help, I'm still at the restaurant, kind of meaning you finally got over her, left her. That part's not harsh, but the first few lines, she's basically saying that Kayla Nicole really wasn't in it for love and was in it for clout. When Travis and Kayla initially broke up, we really didn't hear any reasons for it. They kept it very quiet. So this is interesting. What do you guys think? And what do you guys think of her putting this information in a song? I feel like I've never really heard her call out specifically someone she's dating's ex before. I could be wrong. Let me know. Charlie XCX definitely not the only one catching strays off the life of a showgirl.
It's the way we know she wrote that "I'm not a bad bitch" line when she passed by the bathroom after realizing that Travis had been in there for an hour and she could hear "Take Me Down" being played on repeat even though he had the bathroom fan on and thought he was hiding it. And then she saw her video for herself and found out that woman's hip rotator cuffs go back 90-degree angles. I'd be mad too. She may take you down like the Christmas brown of her skin, but I will blanket you like white snow while you stigmatize me like a sporting goods store.
No shade, but a lot of y'all not even as pretty as Kayla Nicole to be sitting here being offended. I don't think this is about Taylor Swift not liking black women. I think this is about Taylor Swift knowing that Travis's ex runs circles around her in the looks category. Taylor may be more famous, but Kayla is badder. End of discussion.
Does anyone else feel like the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift relationship is a big con? A big con? Because you're telling me, Mr. Travis Kelce, the man, the myth, the legend, that has a history of dating very voluptuous women of all different colors, is now getting married to Taylor Swift? And you're telling me that Taylor Swift is rumored to be with many a supermodel in the bed, usually likes weird white artsy guys, is now with a football player. Something's fishy. I don't know. And maybe this whole new album was kind of compensation for that, because, like, it felt a little bit of overcompensating. You know what I mean? Talking about his wood. I don't know. Something's up. I'm scared.
Yeah, I mean, I welcome the chaos. The rule of show business is if it's the first week of my album release and you are saying either my name or my album title, you're helping. And art, I have a lot of respect for people's subjective opinions on art. I'm not the art police. It's like everybody is allowed to feel exactly how they.
The worst part about this absolutely horrific Taylor Swift album is that all of the millennial MAGA women are going to absolutely eat it up and be like, oh my God, this is so real. She used just the perfect mix of vocabulary to where I almost understand it. Thank God she didn't fucking use any big words this time. Also, the song Canceled is just so me. Like, that's actually me and my entire family, because so many people have cut me off because I'm a racist. This is just so relatable. Like,
For all y'all angry white women that came for me in my own post that I put up about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, Chris Brown, and Kayla Nicole. Okay, we was just having fun, never mentioned race, never did none of that. But for some reason, apparently, white women, they got their panties in a bunch. They was pissed. But one of the things that they kept saying, they were really talking really negative on Kayla Nicole, talking about she was a WHORE and classless and trashy. It was so much extra going on, okay? And then they started coming for Chris Brown. I'm like, what did he do? He just had a concert. Okay, so y'all was coming for him, a whole entertainer, but then y'all kept bringing up the fact that, oh, wasn't he the one? He's an abuser. He did this to Riri. He did such, all this stuff, all this selective outrage and accountability that y'all want to hold with him. But it's so crazy to me because I'm still waiting on them Epstein files, okay? Y'all literally got this man into office. He's a whole president, but nobody ever holds him accountable. But y'all want to hold Chris Brown accountable for something he did 20-something years ago. I don't even have nothing to say because I feel like, y'all just be telling on yourself. Y'all let y'all racism slip show so much. And it's just weird to me. I have no toleration for racism. I hate all of that. I hate all of that race baiting. Y'all love to get in the comments and start making things about white and black. I might state the obvious, but I don't call people out in that sense, okay? So y'all stop doing it too, because y'all look real desperate, real jealous, real mad. at black women because we winning. We like everybody. Black women, we got so much love that we are willing to extend it to you. But y'all can't come over here acting like no Karens. We not having that. We push past the Karens, baby. When y'all come visit Chasta affiliate, don't get in my comments acting crazy. We don't race bait over here. That's all. That's it. Bye.
Travis Kelce had the black woman. She was beautiful. Amazing.
Amazing.
They looked so happy. It was great. Hey, to each his own. You don't know what's going on. This was the part that kind of sparked some like antennas. Because it was like when he was with her, he was swaggy out.
He definitely
swaggy. He had the beard. All the black women was enamored by him. The attire, he had the fits with the Gucci Uggs or whatever. He's swaggy. He starts dating Taylor Swift. Now cuz look like a state trooper.
He do. You're not even lying, bro.
Like he got one of those. He got a handlebar mustache. He got one of those mustaches you see walking up in your rearview mirror, and you about to shit yourself.
Well, this is hilarious. Tension is rising online as black folks are turning Taylor Swift into a big online joke. Well, yeah. Microaggressions in her new album, lyrics. Well, black folks took it way, way too personal, and they brought the full fire, they brought the full force. As you know, black people never disappoint. Black folks are turning Taylor Swift into a very big viral joke after her recent attacks on a black woman who's Kayla Nicole, Travis Kelce's ex. What started as a few tweets quickly exploded into a culture clapback of memes, remixes, and fiery commentary, flooding social media. And in this video, we dive deep into how Taylor's words backfired and how the black community isn't letting this slide.
Black women out here saving y'all's democracy, and yet you want to bully us online? Case in point, the bullying of the black women that have dated Travis Kelce, who may or may not be entangled with Taylor Swift. The first woman apparently went online and said that he was a cheater and a narcissist. People kind of are like, well, she brought the bullying on herself because she should have just kept her mouth shut. The second woman, Kayla Nicole, she seems to have only been minding her black ass business. Their names became public knowledge thanks to internet sleuths tracking them down like, ooh, who else did Travis Kelce date? I did not know who Travis Kelce was until Taylor came along. I didn't even know how to say the man's name until like 3 days ago. I thought it was Kels. Black women are 84% more likely to be bullied online than white women. It's always open season on black women in America. I wrote about it. Also, Chicago Bears forever.
Listen, if you know that a man has a type, I don't care who you are and how magical your is or anything. Do yourself a favor. Do not take that man seriously. For your mental health. Don't do it. Even if you are a billionaire, there's a certain stress that you'll deal with. If you're with a man and you know he's got a type and you don't match his usual type, it will F with your head. Seriously, it will. Don't get me wrong, I'm a woman. I've had many moments when I've looked at a guy and I'm like, oh my God, he's kind of nice. So what I normally do, or what I normally did back in the day, is I'll scroll through to see what his exes look like. And if 4 of them women do not match me, or if his last 2 ex-girlfriends don't look anything like me, I'm not wasting my time. I am not wasting my time. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it to myself. I'll end up like Taylor Swift, and I'm not doing that to myself. I don't care how good you look. If a man has a type, don't think you're going to be his wife and you look nothing like his type. Men are very simple creatures. Even I am a simple creature. I've got a type, and I'll be honest with you. If you're going to try to get to know me, and you don't match that type, unless you're very, very, very rich. I'm not gonna say, no. Just don't do it to yourself, okay? Don't do that to yourself. When people have types, leave them to their type. My theory is, you can have fun with them. You can enjoy them for the night. You can make them a nice little outfit that you're gonna return later. Some people, and I know this sounds horrible, but there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that some people are good for the night. Or they're good for a good time. You don't have to take it that seriously. Not everything needs to lead to a relationship. Sometimes it can just lead to a fun night. What's wrong with that? Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, that could have been a good night. That could have been a good night. I don't know why it's resulted to engagements, and now homegirl's spiraling. Now she's writing songs, throwing shots at poor Kayla Nicole. Like, that girl has been minding her business, and ever since, she's just been catching strays. But I say this to say, when a man has a type, please let him be with his type. Enjoy him for the night and give him back. Don't do it to your mental health. Don't do it to yourself. You see how Taylor Swift is acting? Yeah, that will be you without $1 billion. Is it worth it?
Taylor Swift has never made music. She creates white culture wars, and we profit off of the division.
I think what people forget is that when Taylor Swift came out, she was a teenager. So her brand actually fit her being like this innocent, quirky, little white girl that's relatable to, the music that she made. I think over time, especially in the beginning, her first two albums, Taylor Swift and Fearless, wasn't mediocre at all because it actually fit the moment and the time that she was in. Even I Know, Just Another Picture to Burning Up, it definitely fit. I don't think her first two albums between like 2006, I think, to 2009, in the beginning, she was perfect. I think over time, as she got older, she evolved from that brand, from that foundation, and her team probably tried to evolve her brand, but she just went downhill and became or sounded more mediocre over time. But those first two albums were perfect for her foundation and the brand that she built her music from. It made sense.
I'm going to explain to you why I'm not a Taylor Swift fan by telling you a little story. When I was in 5th grade, we were asked to write a paper on our favorite singer. And the singer I chose to write my paper about was Darlene Love. My mother will confirm this in the comments. Who is Darlene Love, you may ask, which is crazy, but... You may or may not see where I'm going with this. I'm going to play you some of my other favorite artists when I was young.
Your resistance is low. Light another cigarette and let just stop go. This is a oh, she may be weary. Them young girls, they do get wearied wearing that same old miniskirt dress. Yeah. Why can I get down on a boss man? Why you know the company? Betting on the dice on top sand.
This is a very small snippet of the kind of music I was a fan of when I was young. This is music and singers that I consider to be great. To my personal ears, you cannot compare the two. I don't know how to go from listening to music like that and idolizing music like that and putting Miss Swift in the same category. No problem with people saying that they like her music. When we start saying that she's one of the greatest singers of all time, no, she's objectively not. Personally, I actually find that offensive. They are simply, to my ears, not in the same category. They're not on the same planet, frankly. I personally find her to be mediocre. I personally am not super interested in celebrating mediocrity. I personally just think the world has seen greater talent. I have no problem if you really like her music. That's great. I'm not saying you can't like her music. I take umbrage with when we're saying she's one of the greatest singers of all time because she objectively is not. Do I think she has some catchy pop songs? Yeah. Do I think she's one of the greatest performers of our time? No, I don't. I think she is a very smart businesswoman. I respect her for her ability to make money. She is very good at marketing, and she is very good at the game of capitalism. I'm just not interested in celebrating mediocrity.
I was gonna I'm not a bad bitch. This isn't savage. I was gonna let that go.
I was going to let that one roll off my back. No, this isn't about the song that changed my life, the song where Beyonce delivered arguably the best remix of all time, Grammy award-winning Savage. No, Taylor wouldn't do that until yesterday. My co-host Sequoia told me that Travis Kelce asked out Meg Thee Stallion and she denied him. What's happening? Sorry, I had to, but, and that Travis Kelce has only dated black women before Taylor, which I didn't know. So the subtext is hinting at, I'm not a black baddie, but I'm still your girl. And I think that sentiment could be fine if it's coming from a place of black women are dominating right now, especially in the music industry, and if she also shows her support for other black artists and black women in her orbit. But if you're saying that line and it is fueling bullying of Travis's ex, Kayla, who is black, that's not kosher in my book. Change the lyric. Like, don't include that lyric. It's not a good fucking lyric either. So what is the intention there? Like, we as fans, as the audience, are allowed to hold you accountable and ask that you show us what your intentions are through your actions, through what you're outspoken about.
You know, I was thinking about something as I was reflecting on this week with Taylor Swift and her new album. And I came to the realization that there is a conversation that needs to be had with Swifties and black people. Mainly for the Swifties to understand the concept of why black people are just so, well, not all black people, because some black people are down for Taylor Swift, but why the majority of black people are not, like, in support of Taylor and her music and what she does. And it's because I want the Swifties to understand you are asking black people to compare Taylor Swift as an artist to the likes of Beyonce, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Jasmine Sullivan. Like, you're asking us to compare this lady to these people who we deem as great, right? Who we deem as great. When we think about a singer, we think about Whitney Houston, Luther Vandross, Jasmine Sullivan, Beyonce, Patti LaBelle, Shaka Khan. Like, we can go on and on. Anita Baker, if we're talking about altos. Like, we can go on and on of true singers that we listen to on a regular basis. And when we turn on somebody like a Taylor Swift, in our ears, we aren't hearing anything remarkable. We aren't hearing anything that's truly like an incredible vocal. But then you say, okay, well, she's not a vocalist, she's a songwriter. Okay, then we say, well, we compare her songwriting to that of Babyface, that of Stevie Wonder, that of Mariah Carey. Like, do you see where we're going here? Like, you are asking us to equate Taylor to these people who come out of our culture, to these people who come and produce music and write music that she doesn't honestly compare to. Like, if you think about the hits that Babyface was writing in the 90s, most of us, I know for me, I was between the ages of 0 and 7 years old in the 90s, right? Babyface's music of songs he's written is still popular now. And that's music that he released when I was 3, 4, 5 years old, sometimes even before. And you're asking us to compare a songwriter like Taylor Swift to a songwriter like a Babyface, or a songwriter of Stevie Wonder who has classics that came out before we were even born, that are still songs that we play till this day. Or even Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey writes all of her own music and she sings. And Mariah Carey in her heyday would sing Taylor Swift under a table. And Mariah Carey is an alto with an extension. So, like, I really want you guys to understand when black people are saying that she's mediocre, is because we are thinking about the entire package of what a singer and an artist is. And it's not to say that she's only comparing to black people, because no. Like, we went heavy for Britney. And you want to know why? We went heavy for Britney, we went heavy for Adele, we went heavy for Hayley Williams, we went heavy for Christina. And you know why? It's because those people knew their lane. Britney Spears never tried to make us believe that she was a singer. Britney Spears never tried to make us believe that she was a songwriter. Neither did her fans. Her fans and Britney knew who she was, and black people accepted Britney for who she was. Therefore, we messed with her heavily. We knew Christina was the better singer. Britney's fans knew that Christina was the better singer. And you know what? We like them both. Because why? They knew their lane. Nobody was delusional. Nobody was trying to say that this person is better, yada, yada. They knew what they were. We knew that Britney was the dancer and the performer. We knew that Christina was the singer. Now, bring this back to Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is not singing Ariana under the table. She's not. She's not singing Sabrina Carpenter under a table. And we know that from the voice notes that's been released from this Life of a Showgirl album. Like, we can hear 20 years later, she still doesn't sound good, which means she's not working on her craft. And her song lyrics, clunky. I turned on Life of a Showgirl and I was like, wow. Some of these lyrics are just clunky. They don't make sense. Like the one lyric that she says she's proud about is she paid the bill before it kissed the mahogany grain. Who says that? Like, I understand that she paid the bill before it hit the table, but why? First of all, why is that a lie? Why does she want us to believe this line is super impactful? Because it sounds like somebody trying to write deep literature that is not deep themselves. Like, that's where we're getting, like, that's where we're coming from. Because my thing is, think about if you ever heard of Jasmine Sullivan's In Love with Another Man. Homegirl wrote that song when she was in her 20s. In her 20s. That song is talking about she's in love with someone else who is not as great as the person that she should be with, but that's a person. Like, that song is a complex song and is written in plain English. Taylor Swift is trying to write plain English in these deep literature style types of lyrics, and it's not working. I want y'all to realize that y'all are in what I believe a parasocial relationship with Taylor Swift. That's what you're in. You're in a parasocial relationship with Taylor. So she's making you guys believe that you're her friends by selling friendship bracelets and all of these things. Like, at the end of the day, you are her customers. You're not her friends. You are being marketed and branded to. Taylor Swift is a billionaire. She could afford clothes that none of us can even think about. But she chooses to dress that way because she knows her parasocial friends need to see her like them see themselves. When y'all are not the same. Beyonce fans don't have this kind of delusion. Because you know why? Beyonce doesn't talk to us. We are very aware that Beyonce is in a completely different tax bracket and a completely different person than we are. We know we cannot hold a candle to that lady. Not when it comes to artistically, not when it comes to money, not when it comes to resources, not when it comes to making good music. We know that. And she doesn't try to make us believe that because she knows her music can stand alone by itself. Taylor knows that her music cannot. This is why she has to do this entire thing to make her fans believe that she's just like them, to make her fans believe that she's a friend of theirs, to make her fans believe that she's one of them. And what is that translating to? Y'all buying 12 copies, 13 copies of the same album that all sounds bad. Also tells me that y'all are going to these concerts. Let me just say something real quick. If she sounds that way on a voice note, but doesn't sound that way when she's touring, that touring is a backing track. She's not singing live. Because the way she truly sounds is that voice note that y'all are paying money to hear. This is the reason why black people cannot take that woman serious. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. We can't take her serious because we see and understand what makes a true artist. We've lived it. We've breathed it. We've heard it our entire lives. I grew up hearing Stevie Wonder. I grew up hearing Michael Jackson. I grew up hearing these people. And let's just not even get into the true singers and true songwriters, because if we go over to the gospel lane, it's some beasts over there Taylor Swift couldn't even hold a candle to. So listen, we're not saying y'all can't have y'all woman. Have her. What we're saying to you is, don't get upset when we tell you she's mediocre, when we tell you that we don't take her seriously, it's because you have to think about what we're used to hearing and feeling and seeing and understanding. We are used to seeing artists who are the greats, like the Michaels, like the Beyonce, put in work. Them two people have been putting in work since they were a child. You could say, yes, Taylor was doing this when she was a child too. Yeah. Beyonce was running in heels when she was 13, 14 years old. Michael Jackson was practicing every single day. This man was making music with his mouth and putting it on his albums. That's the difference. And I just want y'all to realize, like, we're not hating on Taylor Swift. We just don't see the greatness. Because when we think about greatness, if we think about what those people have produced and made, she doesn't compare. I'm sorry.
So I've talked about how Taylor Swift is a subscriber to resentment in reference to actually romantic, right? When it comes to Charlie XCX, holding on to resentment that just makes you a victim, essentially, right? But let's talk about the damsel in distress, yet still has agency or has no agency or whatever, this thing that a lot of white women subscribe to. And it's something that non-black women and white women do need to address amongst each other, because when black women bring this up, when brown women bring this up, it's like, you're just paranoid. But there is something to be said about people who punch down even though they're in a better social position, right? Let's talk about the Tignon laws in Louisiana. White women were obviously in a better social position, right? Enslaved women, come on. But there were freed black women, and they would do these beautiful things with their hair. They would look so luxurious, but white women were getting mad about it, even though these women were still struggling. It's like they didn't have all the perks that white women did, but they looked good. And these white women literally went to the lawmakers, probably using their infantilization that they, oh, please just do this for us. Like they can't look that good. And so the lawmakers forced these black women to cover their hair. And despite that, these black women still thrived because they would make beautiful headdresses. Do you get what I'm saying? Look at the slave owners' wives, right? The slave owners would go and literally assault black women, right? And probably have a baby with them. The white wives, it's like it's your husband doing this, but she would end up making those women's lives worse because, oh, my husband's choosing you. And there was resentment held for other women there. In reference to Taylor Swift, I felt uncomfortable during Opalite, right? Sleepless in the Onyx Night. But now the sky is Opalite. You had to make your own sunshine. See, she infantilizes her partner. She infantilizes this man. These women will infantilize who is on their side for now, and they'll villainize anybody they have to. You were in it for real. She was in her phone, and you were just a pose. It's like the infantilization of everybody. It's like we're all just being victimized by that woman. I'm tired of it. This mentality that a lot of non-black and or white women have is dragging our society down. You, in your social position, just because somebody else is making their way up, just because somebody else is beautiful, just because somebody else has money, just because somebody else has the man or had him before, that doesn't make anything different for you. Like, it really doesn't, right? But there are so many women who hold so much resentment because your man was dating somebody else before. Yeah, it's a similar mentality for when men only want virgins. They're adults too. They're gonna date other people before you, right? And those other people might not look like you, but now you are the one that's picked. Be happy. Why are you holding on to this resentment? Because he was choosing somebody else when he didn't even know you. Do you get, like, this is so crazy to me. Like, her mentality throughout this whole album, it's very odd. It's very odd. And I'm happy that I'm seeing a lot of white women, like, yeah, there were like a lot of dog whistles. Like, I love her, but she, you know, this was weird. It made me feel weird. And I felt weird during Opalite. That's what, like the third song. And then I felt even weirder during Father Figure, right? It's like, who is Father Figure about? Maybe Olivia Rodrigo, a woman who she chose to help. It's like, I'm going to take you under my wing. But you need to stay under my wing? Where's the loyalty? Why are you asking that? Because she went on to further her own career? That's another mentality too. The whole, I'm going to help you, but you need to do exactly what I tell you after I help you, or else you're disloyal to me. It's just like, and a lot of parents have this mentality too. This is actually a very big and prominent mentality in white American households, right? In whitewashed American households. It's like, I'm helping you. You like kind of owe me this back, but it's like, I didn't fucking tell you to have kids. I don't owe you shit, right? You were taking care of me as a parent because you needed to. But I mean, that's another conversation. One of my mutuals said that Taylor Swift is the equivalent of Nicki Minaj. It's like these women choose to help other women and, you know, be feminists and girls when it's convenient to them. And it's like, oh, we can make a lot of money with this collab, right? But then the women they collabed with move on from it. Like, oh yeah, I'm not your little minion. I'm my own person. I'm an adult. And I'm going to go on to make other music. I'm going to go on to, you know, do other things. And my other things might trend and might make me really popular for a few months. And that's just what's going to happen. That's what the industry is. And at the end of the day, like, just because they blow up and become their peers, it's like, you've betrayed me now. That mentality is so fucking weird. And this is why a lot of black women, a lot of women of color sit there and say, I'd rather have a white man as my boss in the office than a white woman, because look at what some do. They sit there and they're like, oh yeah, I'll help you. Wait, your work is too good. You're doing too good. Do you think you're gonna get promoted over me? Next to me? No, and then they try to sabotage. We've got to fix this mentality, y'all. Just because somebody else is doing good next to you or elsewhere from you doesn't mean that affects you. Doesn't mean you have to like tear everything, burn everything to the ground. Doesn't mean you have to hold on to resentment because your man was with somebody before you, was with somebody who looked different before you. This is just another area where Taylor Swift is holding on to resentment, essentially. And what kills me is the infantilization. You know, I was raised in a household where I wasn't allowed to be a victim. So like the whole victimhood thing kind of annoys me because you're not a victim. You're not a damsel in distress. White women have a fuckload of agency. White women get shit done when they want to. That's why we have Karens. That's why the whole word Karen is like a thing. Because when they want to get you fired, they're going to fucking get you fired. When they want to enact laws upon your hair, they're going to fucking do that. When they want to get a president elected, they're going to fucking do that. Do you get what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it should have been 92% across all women. But it wasn't, because a lot of you women see another woman who doesn't look like you doing good, doing something, and you're like, no, this can't be.
A woman by the name of Leanne posted a video claiming that she went to high school with Taylor Swift and insinuated that Taylor Swift was harassing her in high school. It is one of the most bizarre videos I have ever seen. So here is a short synopsis of what Leanne said. Leanne starts off the video by being like, hey, Taylor Swift, remember me? I was the only pregnant person in our class in high school. And then she was like, I bet you remember me now. And she said it in a really weird, condescending tone. And then she continued by saying, I don't want to accuse you of anything, Taylor, but I just wanted to tell you that all of your predictions were wrong. She goes on to say, I still have my son. I didn't put him up for adoption. He is doing very well and is very successful. Basically insinuating that Taylor Swift told everyone that she was going to put her kid up for adoption. And then she goes on to say, yeah, and I have my master's degree too, which I earned. Insinuating that Taylor Swift was saying she didn't earn anything she worked for. And then she ended the video by saying, Taylor, it's time for you to tell the truth and let everyone beyond Sumner County know who you really are.
Check out this clip and let's talk on the other side.
Objectively crazy, even if you're not Swiftie. And let me tell you, the not Swifties have been going absolutely mental, and they couldn't stop her. 3.5 million units and the tracking week isn't even over. The Taylor haters simply don't realize how much what they do contributes to the success of this. You hate it so much. It's the worst thing you've ever heard. It's millennial cringe. The career's over. And yet, 3.5 million copies in a week. And they'll try to tell you that sales don't mean that the album's good. I agree. It doesn't. But it does mean that people like it, which is what they really want to deny. They tried to do Taylor Swift Mean Girl. They tried to do Taylor Swift Racist. They tried to do Taylor Swift MAGA Barbie, Taylor Swift Cash Grab, Taylor Swift AI imagery in your music video, Taylor Swift song.
Going ahead and skipping the concept of the fact that this is the exact same type of rhetoric that the Trump administration uses to justify all of its actions because it won the election. And no, I'm not comparing Trump and Taylor Swift. I'm comparing the rhetoric around Trump and Swift, which leads to the actual point that I have in this video, which is what I've seen in the discourse this week is what I would quantify as racial weaponized incompetence. And by that, what I mean is that a lot of white women seem to be struggling with the idea of taking their own particular experiences of oppression and translating them to other groups of people. Because almost every white woman can think of an example of a time when some man said something that was blatantly misogynistic, like just gross, rude, mean, disrespectful, demeaning, and you probably called it out. And then you had a group of men look at you and be like, what are you talking about? Why are you being so emotional? He clearly didn't mean that. And you all will turn around from those experiences and be like, oh, men. But when Black people go, hey, some of the language that's being used in this album is microaggressive and it is connecting to racial issues that also connect to what I think is some of Taylor's insecurities. I'm not trying to shade Taylor by saying that she's insecure. She literally lays her insecurities bare on record all the time. But one of those insecurities, I just realized that like Childish Gambino's right over my shoulders looking like, get him. But I think one of those insecurities is in who Travis used to date versus who she is. And that's something that she kind of needs to deal with, but the way that it is coming out feels very microaggressive, feels very racially coded. And to look at Black people and tell them that they are crazy, tell us that we are crazy for feeling this way, is the exact same thing that men have done to women when they tell them that they are crazy for thinking that something was misogynistic. And for some reason, a particular subset of white women have this racial weaponized incompetence where you can never really see racial issues, but you have no problem understanding, dissecting, and identifying misogyny. It seems to be particularly insidious in white women and white members of the LGBTQ plus community, as a Swiftologist happens to be. Because one of the things that whiteness has taught you is that you are fundamentally good. And so the idea that your essence, who you are, is connected to something that could be bad is something that you reject wholeheartedly, even in the face of evidence. And the desire to just have a fun little album that does nothing and says nothing about the state of the world or has no political affiliation or connection whatsoever is so privileged, because as a Black person, I never get to see anything in my existence as not inherently political. I, by my existence, am political. And Black artists throughout history have found a way to blend fun and speaking to what's happening. For example, Let's Talk About Sex by Salt and Pepper. It's just a fun song, right? No. Let's Talk About Sex as a direct response to the increase in STIs, the increase in HIV and AIDS in the Black community, and the increase in unwanted pregnancies. Like, they were speaking specifically to what was happening in the community and made it fun. That is what Black music has always been. We've had no choice because just being Black in America is a political experience. And the reality is, I think a lot of white women want to feign oppression, but get to use the benefits of feigning that oppression while also having the benefits of whiteness. I mean, white women were literally the biggest beneficiary of affirmative action laws, but now they are not the ones being affected the most by the ending of affirmative action and DEI. I say this all the time. When women say, all men, I know that I'm included, I do the work and I speak up to other men because I recognize that reality. And if all men, then also all white people. But to walk around with this weaponized incompetence around the concepts of race only makes you look like you do not care about Black people. It'd be so easy to quote the old Kanye right now. So if you think that all critique of Taylor is misogyny, but you don't think that the racially coded language and microaggressions are racism, then I would like to invite you to a journey of actually understanding how internalized your racism has become. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
What's happening with Taylor Swift is really interesting to me because it's happening on a large, like, global scale with her fan base right now, or I guess national scale with her fan base. But it's happened to me, and I'm sure a lot of other Black women, on a much smaller scale in our personal lives. Let's discuss. So essentially what happens is this. I'm from the Midwest. Ran into a lot of liberal white women in my lifetime. I've developed friendships with several of them. And what I've come to realize and this isn't all of my friendships with white women, the ones who this don't apply to, know that this doesn't apply to them. But without fail, we reach a point in our friendship where some world event happens, some national event happens, we're discussing politics, we're discussing something, It's usually not gay rights, they're usually all for the gays. But something comes up where I am reminded vividly, it's jarring, shocks me every time, even though I shouldn't be, that they're a white woman. They're a white woman first. And what that unfortunately means is that they will accept their role in society, whatever that looks like, at whatever cost to the people around them and in their lives. That means affiliating with these MAGA men, procreating with them, constantly being surrounded by MAGA friends and family, but being like, they're just my loved one. And like not challenging any of that. Essentially only having this like liberal mindset or this activism and this pure way of being, like as a facade that they just put out on the internet. Like they don't actually live that in practice in any way, shape, or form in their lives. And when you get closer with them and you realize this, it's so strange because there are a lot of people who walk it like they talk it. They say that they believe something and then they go and they live that way. And so you don't really know until you get up close and you start to see it a little bit more in practice and you're like, but anyway, as a former, I won't say like former Taylor Swift fan, but I used to be a lot more into her music and the lore behind the storytelling and this and that. And I used to be a lot, a bigger listener. Yeah, no. She's honestly no different than that friend that's like always there for you and you guys are like in this together, oh my god, and you like believe all these things, and then she finally gets some MAGA dude to pay attention to her and she drops you and you're like, girl, hello? And then she's like, why can't you just be happy for me? That's Taylor Swift. I've known a dozen Taylor Swifts. She just happens to be the billionaire version. So I feel like and she's a good artist, and so for a while, not gonna lie, I didn't draw the parallels. But what's interesting is that I naturally moved away from listening to her and like being interested in being a fan of hers at the same time that I like said no more to all of these people in my personal life that couldn't stand on business in their personal lives. So like the dots were connecting on their own. I also want to add that it would be really hard for me to be happy for her anyway right now because marriage is a prison. Anyway, disappointed, but not surprised. Interested to see how things continue to play out and if she like develops some kind of relationship with the White House, because let's be honest, it's coming. It's coming, and we're gonna be hating ass gay big black bitches for being mad about it.
Taylor Swift is the queen of PR relationships. Allegedly, of course. Now, y'all, I know that I'm a little late to the Taylor Swift discourse party. However, I've had these blind items on her researched and typed up for weeks now, and me and my entire family have just been so sick, I've been unable to make any content. Today, I managed to feel the slightest bit better, so I put on some makeup so I didn't look like a zombie. I've got my Kleenex next to me. I've got my pajamas on. We're gonna talk about her blind items because, they are juicy. If you have watched my videos in the past or have enjoyed my content in the past, then please interact with this video by liking it or commenting or sharing. Because I have not posted in like a week, I really have to work my way back into the good graces of the algorithm, and you interacting with this video would be so helpful. So let's get into it, but before we do, y'all know what I always say, everything I'm about to say is alleged. I do not know Taylor or anybody I'm about to talk about. This is all public information I've gathered from different sources online. At the end of the day, y'all, I'm just some bitch on the internet. You don't have to believe a word I say. Now, the very first blind item we have about Taylor Swift is from 2012, and it's actually about her and Harry Styles. The blind item states that they know that the relationship is fake and that they won't last much longer. The blind item also alleges that paparazzi is often notified whenever they're together so that they can be photographed looking like a couple. The blind item even states that they know how to play the publicity game and that even though they may ring in the new year together, they won't make it to Valentine's Day. And that blind item came true because that blind item was from December 2012 and they ended up breaking up January 2013. Another blind item about these two from 2013 after their breakup alleges that Harry felt he was mistreated by the press while being in a relationship with Taylor. And allegedly, this resulted in him selling stories about Taylor and their romance to the tabloids. Funny enough, I actually don't think that this was Taylor Swift's very first PR relationship. I actually think her very first PR relationship was her and Joe Jonas in 2009. Because funny enough, you never saw photos of these two at any events that were not industry related. You never saw selfies of them. Like, they were never seen outside of work, basically. Now, from May 2014, we have a blind item that talks about Taylor Swift allegedly spending thousands and thousands of dollars on lingerie in the past month at a very high-end lingerie store. The blind item continues saying that Taylor Swift, however, has never gone into the store. She always sends her assistant because she doesn't want to be photographed buying lingerie. Now, why is this important? Because this was at the height of her friendship / alleged secret relationship with Karlie Kloss. Now listen, if you've never heard of the Taylor Swift theory and you want a rabbit hole to go way down into, you can find a playlist on that on my page. I've got like 2-3 videos explaining what Taylor Swift is. From December 2014, we have a blind item that alleges that starting that week that the blind item was posted, you were going to start seeing photos of two musicians together, one bigger than the other, and media reporting that they are dating. And this blind item is allegedly about Taylor Swift and Maddie from the 1975. Now, the blind item does state they're not actually dating, it's all public relations. Now, the blind item continues saying that what's actually happening behind the scenes is that Taylor allegedly wants to move from pop to more indie sounding music, but in order to get that kind of credibility, she needs to roughen up her image just a little bit, not too much. And you know, not surprisingly, 2014 is actually the very first time that Taylor and Maddie are sort of linked as like dating in the media. They never actually confirmed that they're dating, but the blind item does allege that he was just a little bit too uncontrollable at the time and that their relationship just didn't make it to the contract stage. And I mean, this does actually kind of make sense to me, and it explains why they would go on to later quote-unquote date in 2023. Another blind item about Taylor and Carly alleges interesting that this B-list celebrity / model pulled out the credit card of this A+ list female singer while out on a shopping spree this past week, and her own card declined. And one last blind from 2014 alleges that Taylor had a great year, and because of it, she ended it on a really good note by giving all of her employees a Christmas bonus that matched their entire annual salary, which is really great and super, super kind if that's true. I could only hope to run a business one day where I could do something like that. Now, early 2015, we have another blind item about Carly and Taylor's friendship, which alleges that the day that the blind item was posted, that morning, Carly had apparently spent the entire morning moving all of her things out of Taylor's apartment. Allegedly, Carly had only been allowed 1 hour to move everything out, but it only took her 10 minutes because apparently Taylor Swift had already boxed and labeled everything. Now, again, this sort of goes back to the Taylor Swift theory. Now, for context, y'all, this is not a theory that was just pulled out of like some Swifties' ass. It's not something I came up with either. It was like people noticing patterns in Taylor Swift's music and Easter eggs in her songs, in her lyrics, in their social media posts. So there's a lot of context to support the Taylor Swift theory, and I talk about it in that Taylor Swift playlist that I made. So like I said, if you're interested in going down that rabbit hole, you can go watch it. It consumes you though, so just be warned. Another blind item about these two alleges that they had a vacation planned and paid for already, but that it was not going to happen because apparently they don't even call or text each other anymore. The blind alleges that there are some very crushed feelings on the part of the BFF, Carly, and that allegedly Taylor Swift is being very, very cold about the situation and has said that nothing comes before the brand. Now, another follow-up blind about these two alleges that Carly had stopped being invited to gatherings that Taylor Swift was hosting. The blind even alleges that Taylor had still not forgiven Carly for her quote-unquote indiscretion. Now, what indiscretion that is, I do not know. Now, 2016, Taylor Swift begins dating Calvin Harris, and we have a blind item from that year that alleges that Taylor Swift apparently has people on her payroll who just so happen to randomly show up to places where her boyfriend happens to be. The blind continues by saying, and I quote, "They are there to spot in advance any issues which might reflect poorly on the singer." Now, 2016, we have another blind about Taylor that says, and I quote, "It might have seemed like sunshines and unicorns on the outside, but this foreign-born A-list singer had nothing nice to say about this A+ list singer after the very recent meeting. Our foreign-born singer doesn't trust the other singer at all about anything." And that is allegedly about Rihanna having nothing nice to say about Taylor. And this was after they had already worked on the song This Is What You Came For. So it does make me wonder if something went down that we're not aware of. This is also the year we start seeing blinds about her and her friendship with Selena Gomez. One blind alleges that Selena Gomez had managed to stay off of a white powdery substance the night before at an event, and that was only because she had been accompanied to the event by Taylor Swift, and Taylor not only went through her purse, but the purse of her assistant, allegedly. A follow-up blind to this alleges that while many people may consider Selena Gomez to be Taylor Swift's best friend, there are times where Taylor Swift will completely avoid any communication with Selena, and this happens to be like around the times when she notices Selena is allegedly, super duper allegedly, like ramping up her substance use. Now, I'm not going to cover them all, but we do have a lot of blinds about Taylor Swift and Tom Hiddleston's relationship from 2016. The blinds pretty much all allege that their relationship was PR, which I do not disagree. I mean, when you look at the photos of how we found out that they were in a relationship, like, this is the perfect paparazzi shot. Anyway, I mean, they did only date for like 3 months, but the blinds do allege that there was a lot of turmoil during those 3 months, mostly because of the terms of their quote-unquote alleged PR relationship. Alright, y'all, this video is getting just a little long, so I am going to have to make a part 2. However, if this part is up, part 2 is already up because I always upload all my parts together. So if you do want to watch part 2, it's going to be on my page. It's not going to be in the comments because that's the only way I can upload all the parts at the same time.
This, exactly. Like, okay, first off, thank y'all for doing numbers on that video. That was numbers for me because I just started posting on TikTok. But I'm not gonna lie, I kind of held back with my opinions because I assumed that like I'd be burned at the stake by the Swifties.
But let me really get into it now, because exactly this. And also, like, my whole point in life, and this is why it pisses me off when people are like, it's not their job to be political. Like, you think that the people who are being oppressed can do the work for themselves? They're being oppressed. No, they need someone who's bigger and powerful. Obviously, yes, they're doing what they can, but they need someone who is bigger and powerful and like privileged in whatever way to take the stand. So it's like, if it's a black and brown issue, you need white people speaking up for you. If it's a trans issue, you need cis people speaking up for you. If it's a queer issue, you need straight people speaking up for you. You need the people who aren't affected to be like, guys, stop doing that. So that's this whole other rant. But also, my point being is that Taylor Swift is like none of the things. She's like, okay, she's a woman. That's the only thing she's got going against her, really. But even she's like positioning herself with the trad wife, conservative women who like, anyway. So now that I've realized that this is a safe space, let me just like really completely spill my exact opinion. First and foremost, I've never been a Taylor Swift fan. Like, even, like I said, back in her day, yeah, she had a couple bops. Like, that's just undeniable. It's a good beat, but that's the producers. I don't really think that that's her. But even if it was her, okay, whatever. She's got a couple bops. But music aside, like, I don't even care. You could be writing the most insane songs, like, incredible, out of this world. But, like, if you are literally standing for nothing, and actually, I don't even think that it's like fair to say standing for nothing, because she's aligning herself with conservative, hetero, cis normative MAGA people. Like, you're kind of, I know you're not saying anything, but like, you're taking a stance and then you're actively not speaking up. But at the end of the day, I think that Taylor Swift stands for mediocre white culture. And I think that she's on the platform that she is currently on because mediocre white people like to see other mediocre white people succeed, because they go, oh, I don't have to do that much and I can get rewarded. And it's why they hate when they see Beyonce, when they see Kendrick Lamar, when they see other black artists succeed and do things to the level of superstardom that they realize, wow, I can't attain because I will never be that. Then they hate it. Then they don't want anything to do with that, and it's the devil. But then suddenly Miss Taylor Swift, who doesn't have too much bleach in her hair, doesn't wear too much makeup, not doing too much, just a girl next door, looks like them, talks like them, writes average lyrics about being an average person, then they see themselves. Then, oh yeah, she's the best. Oh my God, we love her, because they want what they are. And I know there's a lot of people in the comments. Listen, I'm proud of a Swiftie for turning. I'm proud of a Swiftie for gaining some critical thinking skills. Like, listen, I don't want to come across that I'm like not happy that like y'all are like starting to, which first off, take me out of that, y'all. Some of y'all have been commenting being like, y'all doing this. Babe, I'm not a Swiftie. I've never been a Swiftie. Take me out of the y'all, please. But some of the Swifties are coming and being a little critical, and I'm happy. I'm here to hold your hand. Like, I'm happy for you. Wait, what was I saying? Okay, some of the Swifties are saying some things about like, you know, the writing going downhill. This is not personally, I'm sorry, but if you really are like listening to music, if you're really like consuming art, you understand that Taylor Swift has kind of never, like, it's always sounded like the TikToks that are like, this is what Taylor Swift music sounds like to non-fans. It's always been giving like mayonnaise on white bread with unseasoned chicken and like white rice on the side. It has. I don't know, there's just something extra obvious about it in this one that I think it's like undeniable. Everyone's waking up. I could really go on and like maybe we'll keep the conversation going. I don't know, but basically my whole point being that just like she is to the level that she's at, one, because she's exploited people, she's killing the planet, and she's a okay, yeah, this was my third. And that she's a mediocre white person, and people love to see fellow mediocre white people love to see other mediocre white people do mediocre things. Like, I could maybe forgive the basic average bad music if like she was really taking a stance and speaking up on things, but she's not. And if anything, she's just positioning herself with like the people that we don't want to see. So there's just no redeeming qualities. I could go on.
Travis Kelce proposing to Taylor Swift is a prime example of how Black women are constantly overlooked when it comes to commitment, longevity, proposals, weddings, and these men choosing us. Prior to Taylor Swift, Kelce dated Kayla, who was a Black woman, for over 6 years. And that wasn't enough time for him to realize he wanted to be with her, to build a legacy, to propose, to commit. But 2 years was enough. Now, somebody might argue me and say, well, maybe Taylor Swift was more his type. Maybe that may be true. But how is a girl not your type if you're with her for 6 years? If you ever been to a college graduation and you see the graduates, have you ever seen the young white women and how they have their rings already? 23, 24-year-old women already proposed to because there's a plan. They have a plan in life that they know that they have to get married, start family, start legacy, and build up from there. When it comes to Black women, they just want to make us baby mamas and leave us, and they just want to never commit fully and not treat us the same as far as being chosen like other races. And the fact that women are really not in control of proposing, we're waiting for these men to give us what we deserve, but it just never comes. Therefore, we then have to leave. Therefore, that we create a broken family, a broken household, and it continues and continues until Black men start choosing us like other races choose their people, their women. Until Black men start choosing us, the narrative is never going to stop. The broken family dynamic is never going to stop, or Black women have to be chosen by other men. And that's not always a given either.
But I'm not a black bitch, and I'm not a savage, but I'm scared that you might cheat on me with a black hood bitch, and she's gonna have a fat ass, and I have a flat ass. And I don't have no titties, but your last ex, she had some perky titties. And I'm a insecure white girl with a flat chest, thinking that I want a man that used to date Black women. And now I'm taking shots, 'cause he's all that I got. Oh yeah, he's all that I got, and I'm never gonna let him down, 'cause he's all American white man, and I'm his American white girl, and he's never gonna be down for the swirl again, because I had the crown and I won. Oh, but I'm a little insecure because he might cheat on me with a black woman.
Taylor Swift doesn't want me to talk about how she lies to us all the time, then she should stop blatantly and obviously lying to us in ways that can be so easily tracked. My girlfriend pointed this out while we were watching Jimmy Fallon tonight. Taylor Swift said, like, I see you guys dancing online when they played the Fate of Ophelia and everybody was doing, my ring light died again mid-video. Anyways, we're ignoring it. When she was doing the little Fate of Ophelia dance music thing, whatever, and she was like, yeah, I see you guys doing this dance online. Remember in the podcast when Taylor was like, I'm just a really chronically offline person. Like, I don't have the apps on my phone anymore. I don't scroll. I spend my time doing other things. And then she proceeded to release the most chronically online album, right? Like, these lyrics, when you take them at face value, so many of them sound so chronically online and like someone who is scrolling 18 hours a day, right? Like, and it's just funny because like I want people to start thinking about, and I know a lot of the people watching this, like, you get it, we see each other, right? But general Swifties, why do you think Taylor would lie to you? And why do you think she would lie to you in ways that are so easily able to be called out, right? Like, why would she say she's chronically offline and she doesn't see things anymore, and then in the same breath say, I see you guys doing these dances on TikTok and I love it so much? Like, why would she do that if she didn't want to be called out on the line? I just, let's think on that for a little bit.
Tell me what you think down in the comments.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.